all over my TV and my cell phone is Trump is in China. So I guess we're gonna start with that because that's where we left off last stream react session. But I saw this and it just made me laugh a little bit, it made me giggle on the inside. Benny Johnson, the MAGA head himself. This is funny. When Obama visited China, he was forced to exit off the ass of the Air Force One because they didn't even give him stairs. Trump just got a red carpet heroes welcome with 300 students waving flags and chanting. It feels good to be respected on the world stage again. These people are so funny because they think that they're so smart, but China knows that Trump's a narcissist egomaniac. They're gonna glaze the shit out of him. Like, you're being manipulated, and like you're falling into the cards of the glaze. You know, let's look. It is a very warm welcome, but like they know he's an egotistical narcissist. Like, who wouldn't want a big fucking welcome like this? Especially when you know, Trump is like claiming to be like, he wants to be king, he wants to be dictator, you know. Says that dictators aren't that bad and Putin's all right, and you know, he sees himself as an authoritarian. Like, this is great for him. He loves it. But yeah, sure. Yeah, Obama, I mean, yeah, I don't think it really means much, but they're definitely glazing hard for sure. Well, why is Trump in China? I don't really know. Something about Iran.
And so it begins here in Beijing, China rolling out the red carpet for President Trump. We watched it here 1 hour ago. Big grand welcome kicking off a two-day summit with serious issues and implications on the line. So good morning, good evening from China. I'm Bill Hemmer back here live in Beijing.
I don't know why, the stairs, these presidents, all presidents now are just so old that the stairs is like an action scene. It's like, oh my God, is he gonna make it down the stairs?
Nice to see you again. We'll find out what we get along the way. How you doing, and good morning back
We
here.
will indeed. It is 9 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast. And Bill, good to see you out there. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. Dana is off today. This is America's Newsroom. So it started.
This is America. This is the Freedom Newsroom.
We watched it together, but they will soon be getting down to brass tacks. There's so much hanging in the balance at this U.S. China summit. The world's two biggest economies have a lot to discuss on trade, on technology. And then there is, of course, the issue of Iran.
This is always interesting because right now, I mean, Trump is literally going to China to ask for their help. Like he is the first one to be like, let's talk. Like, he is he is coming to China to ask for what stuff that they want, right? Or that he wants from them. So China already has the upper hand in terms of leverage in that sense, in that regard. But it is always interesting because this is like the capitalist versus communist big powers, the big two economies of the world. What's going to happen, right? It's very interesting. And I'd like to see what's going to happen. But I honestly, out of all of these meetings that I've seen, like, listen, I've only seen a handful, but like, not like on the news, but they usually come out of it with like shit, like very like inches worth of progress.
Yeah, we'll
or
see
anything
where the ball moves
huge.
on that.
Unless it's like tariffs, like, oh, we're gonna give you 100% tariffs.
At all. China's the largest buyer of Iranian oil, and right now a fragile ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran hangs in the backdrop. According to the president, before he left Washington, that is not the focus of this trip.
I have a great relationship with President Xi, and I think it's going to remain that way. We have a lot
Dude,
of
he's
things
so
to
orange.
I wouldn't say Iran is one of them, to be honest with you, because we have Iran very much under control. We're either going to make a deal or they're going to be decimated. No, one way or the other, we win. But we're.
That's crazy just to say out loud. We're just gonna decimate them if they don't do what we say. That is wild. Democracy, by the way. This is democracy. This is how democracy works.
We're going to be talking about We're going to be talking with President Xi about a lot of different things.
But I cannot imagine that Iran is not going to be a discussion point, because oil. We all know America loves oil. Oil is like the best thing America needs. They crave oil. It's like right next to Christ, it's oil, baby. Venezuela stealing their oil, just shitting on Iran to take their uranium, maybe. Fucking Benjamin Netanyahu on 60 Minutes talking about going to take out uranium enrichments, take their resources.
I would say more than anything else will be trade.
Wilder.
And China has is a huge player in oil. They buy Russian oil, they buy Iranian oil, they sell it to India. India sells it back to America.
Okay, now Aisha Hasni reporting with me here live in Beijing, and hello to you.
Hello to you.
Go ahead and
good evening. Good morning. We don't know still. Hey, the president has previewed what he's going to talk to Xi about first, and that is trade. He said that he's going to ask Xi to open up China to business with these business executives that he's bringing along with him in this big delegation.
Oh, I saw Elon was tweeting. They might bring him up, but Elon was like, "I'm on Air Force One to go to China," because Elon, his Teslas are no longer the most popular car in China for EVs. Like the BYDs are taking over. So I'm sure that's maybe a thing.
Just saw the arrival.
These are the
Let's put that
backdoor
up on the
deals,
screen
baby.
there. He was greeted by the vice president of China and 300 Chinese kids, Bill, waving the China and U.S. flags. He says trade is the top priority for the state visit, not Iran. Although Iran will come up, he plans to have a long talk with Xi about it. But he says that he does not need China's help when it comes to Iran, noting that China is the one that has a lot to gain from the end of this conflict.
Look at Trump. He loves it. He loves all the flag waving. Like, he's taking it in. He's like, they're all here for me. He loves this shit. Like, and that's the thing with the Benny Johnson tweet. It's like, you guys are falling for the manipulation. Like, this is all glaze. It's all glaze. It's all just to stoke ego. Really, it's a negotiating tactic. Soften them up, butter them up.
No, I don't think we need any help with Iran. We'll win it one way or the other. We'll win it peacefully or otherwise.
We're only 2 minutes in. I can't keep pausing this much. Trump is so wild. Any question that he takes is like, well, if we lose, then we're just going to win anyway. If they try to win, we will just make them lose. Like, that's it.
Their Navy's gone. Their Air Force is gone. Every single element of their war machine is gone.
So here's what we
I
expect
don't know
to
if
be on
that's
the table for
true.
these talks. China wants
Seems
to lower
pretty
tariffs.
extreme.
They currently have a 10% tariff on them. They want to talk about beef sales, soybean sales, artificial intelligence will come
Trade.
up, rare earth minerals for chips. Taiwan will come up. It is the largest chip maker in the world. And talking about chips, Bill, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang jumped on aboard Air Force One in Alaska.
CEOs traveling with President Trump to China. Tim Cook. So here are all the CEOs, billionaires who basically run our country, who are in Trump's pocket, Republicans, right? Tim Cook, like the big names, Elon Musk, Tim Cook, probably the biggest ones that I see off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, Jensen Huang, NVIDIA, like MasterCard, like just look at all these. Goldman Sachs, General, is that GE Aerospace? Like, Boeing. Like, these are the people who control America. These are the people who own the economy. So when you hear, we need the economy to do better, these are the people who benefit. And others, of course. These are not the only billionaires in the world. But, you know, like, these are the people.
Of course, NVIDIA's most advanced chips, those are
who the government works for. It's not you.
They haven't been able to get those into the Chinese market just yet because of U.S. restrictions. We'll see if that changes after these talks. And the president, like I said, will be here with a lot of CEOs. They're on your screen right now. Elon Musk among them. He was on board Air Force One. Others arriving separately here. Trump Truth Social while aboard that he wants Xi to do business with these folks. So we will see if that is the result of these talks.
You know, you ask a different analyst, you get a different answer on the question of Taiwan.
Whoa, I want to read that. Wait. I will be asking President Xi, a leader of extraordinary distinction, to open up China so that these brilliant people can work their magic and help bring the People's Republic to an even higher level. In fact, I promise that when we are together, which will be in a matter of hours, I will make that my very first request. I have never seen or heard of any idea that would be more beneficial to our incredible countries. Now, the only thing that makes sense to me for this deal with all the CEOs going over there is obviously cheap labor. CEOs want their production facilities to have cheap labor. Probably going to open up like more Apple factories, perhaps, stuff like that, right? So, and trade and tariffs and etc. Other geopolitical stuff. But for the billionaires, I'd just assume it's more of the investment, cheap labor shit. What then can they get out of China for their own company,
Is the
basically?
result of these talks.
You know, you ask a different analyst, you get a different answer on the question of Taiwan. It'll certainly come up. What the Americans have always said, Aisha, is that anytime they talk with the Chinese delegation, Taiwan
Absolutely.
is part of the conversation.
You know, I spent some time in Taiwan a couple years ago, and they have a completely different perspective. The Chinese, just a couple of days ago, actually put out a statement saying that this is going to happen, that Taiwan really does belong to them, has historically always belonged to them, and secession talks really don't need to come up. The Taiwanese feel very, very differently about this. I spoke with the ambassador of Taiwan to the U.S. a couple of days ago. I asked him if he feels like what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz is giving Xi more confidence to perhaps do a blockade of his own in the Taiwan Strait, which would be devastating for the global economy because Taiwan.
That doesn't make any sense.
Chips in the world.
Why would they block? Why would they do that? Why would they create more economic instability? China's whole thing is about trade maxing and trading and being an exporting hub. Why would they do that to themselves? It doesn't make any sense to create more volatile conditions and fuck oil prices, right? Like, I don't know if that's a thing that they want to do.
And the ambassador told me, you know, he should think twice. He should look at what happened in Venezuela, and he should look at what's happening in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. would not let that happen.
Good to see you again.
You as well.
Along.
That's so crazy to say. Like Taiwan could easily lead to World War III. I don't know why the United States is obsessed with Taiwan. Why is America in Taiwan? Like why? Global policeman, right? Like they are just like, why do they care about Taiwan? So it's like, oh, if China does some sort of blockade, what, America's going to come to their rescue or something? But also, why would China do a blockade? It doesn't make any sense. Iran's doing a blockade because they're getting fucking bombed the fuck out of. You know, they're like, this is our response.
For the ride as
Absolutely.
we go, right?
Here we go.
All right.
It doesn't make sense to open and just be like, that's so offensive for China that I just don't think that would ever happen.
Former NSC director for China, you know this topic very well, sir.
Like, America is so much more in the aggressive corner than China ever has been. It doesn't make any sense for China to do
Morning
that.
to you back there in the U.S. and thank you for your time. I was struck by what you told our producers. You believe both leaders coming into this believe
I don't know
that
who this
they
person
have
is.
the high hand. What does history tell you about that?
That's right. Well, historically,
I'm just threw
it
something out
can
my
be a
window.
good
The
thing.
fuck?
Chairman Mao thought he had the high hand with Richard Nixon. Nixon thought he had the high hand with Mao because Mao was under pressure from the Soviet Union. And it turned out that they could find complementary reasons to move the relationship forward. And you're in Beijing today as a result of what they did in 1972. So even though both of them have their own calculations,
I don't know what the hell that was.
these are two very confident leaders. These are two leaders that know they run the most important nation.
If Trump thinks he has the upper hand, listen, Trump's an egomaniac narcissist. Of course, he probably thinks he can bully China, but he can't. China is just as strong, if not stronger, in some industries than America. It's just, you can't do that to China or bully them into, doing whatever you want with Taiwan. Like, I don't know.
They know that they have the ability to shape history. They're very aware of that. And so this is a fascinating meeting.
Okay, Dennis, what is the main goal for the U.S. president? Conversely, what is the main goal for President Xi?
Well, for President Trump, he said it is trade. We have still a $200 billion trade deficit with the Chinese. What he hopes is that China will open its markets more. As he talks about, it's not about free trade, it's about fair trade.
It doesn't, this is so stupid. The deficits, people are crazy. Deficits have just lost all meaning. That means that China, you buy a lot of Chinese goods. You know why? Because they're cheap, you idiot. Because they're cheap. You don't want cheap goods? Oh, it's a deficit. We buy so much from China. Yeah, because it's a great fucking deal. You understand? Like, what the fuck?
Right now, the Chinese hold American companies out of key sectors. One of the people on this trip, for example, is in the medical area, and American medical science has a lot of opportunities in China. Obviously, you talked earlier about Boeing aircraft. There may be a deal for 500 Boeings, beef, soybeans, but there are a lot of other things that Americans can sell to China if it opens its markets. But at this point, it keeps some American products out because they don't want them competing with lesser quality local products. On the Xi side,
yeah, my
this
sense
is about
coming into
geopolitics.
this is, yeah, I'm sorry about interrupting you, but it's my sense that these two men are still in the state of relationship building. Continue on, President Xi, for interrupting you.
That's right.
Also, I don't know what the fuck he's just like saying. I mean, he hit the high note of like, oh, China's shittier products. Like, what? Where is that? You pulled that right out of your tuchus. Like, what? Like, what for soybeans? If we're talking AI, like do we not remember when fucking Nvidia took a giant hit on the stock market because of DeepSeek? Like,
you shouldn't look at this as a one-off event. Remember that there is opportunity this year for 4 meetings. Obviously, the president has invited Xi back to Washington for a return visit, but there's also the G7 summit and the G20 summit this year. I have never seen a year where the two leaders would meet more often, and they have that in their minds. So let's not look for everything to be resolved in this visit. That's unrealistic. But it lays the groundwork for a pretty interesting year.
That's a great photo.
Yeah, well stated. Listen to Senator Lindsey Graham and Secretary Hegseth on Iran's influence or lack thereof with regard to China, and also China's influence with Russia. Just listen to this exchange here.
Does China buy 90% of Iranian oil, Ms. Secretary?
China buys a very large percentage of Iranian oil.
90% is pretty large. So does China buy, are they the largest purchaser of Russian oil and gas?
I would imagine they're up there, Senator.
They are. They're the largest. So President Trump, when you go to China, realize that the person you're talking to is propping up Russia and Iran.
So now there's a common belief on the U.S. side that
yes, it is true because China is all about trade. China is like all about trade. They do a lot of trade. They are literally the exporting hub of the world. They are the manufacturing hub because America invested a lot, like Apple and all these companies invested in their cheap labor, and they have a big industrial manufacturing hub that's cheap, right? Like, yeah, so they trade max with Russia and Iran and India and I don't know who else. The BRICS. Name any country in the BRICS. I'm sure they're trading some with China in some capacity. But like, you know, but propping up is a little, I don't know about that. They're just trading. That'd be like saying the USA is propping up Ukraine, which is a little more true because of the ginormous funding. But you know what I'm trying to say. I don't know.
China have massive sway with Iranian.
Just yapping.
I don't necessarily take from your comments that they do. With regard to the IRGC, how much influence does Beijing have today on the war front, sir?
Well, I think President Trump has calculated this well. The reason he's saying he's not going to go to the Chinese, in part because we are in a good position, but in part because he knows they really don't have the kind of sway that some people would say they have. Tehran sells oil to China, but remember, we are talking about a theocracy versus a communist state. They don't have a lot in common in many ways. Sure, China wants the Strait of Hormuz reopened. It would like to get back to selling weapons and buying cheap oil from the Iranians. But really, there's not an awful lot of evidence that they have a big pull with IRGC or anybody else.
Former CIA Deputy Assistant Director for East Asia, Dennis Wilder, you spent a lot of time in this part of the world. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us today. Thank you.
All right, cool. That was interesting. That lady compared Venezuela with China. I didn't catch that, but that's, hey, W chatter for catching that. That's a tough one. That's a tough take. The only reason Trump went to China is to check on the status of the Trump phones. That's funny. All right, here's a take. This has 27,000 likes. 12 of the most powerful capitalists on earth flew to Beijing today with the U.S. president as their chaperone to beg chairman of the Communist Party of China for deals. Isn't that kind of wild just to think about, just to say out loud? Is like because people shit on communists, people shit on socialism, communism doesn't work, etc. And then you look at China and what they're doing and the incredible leaps they have taken because of communism and the economic, what do you want to say? The economic foundation of Marxism, Leninism, and not that they're Marxist-Leninists to a T, but basically understanding capitalism and trading and understanding the ins and outs, right, of capital, which is what the Communist Party does, right? Like Marx is the whole reason why we understand so much about why capital sucks. And China's trying to figure out their own socialism thing, which has never really been done since the Soviet Union. So it is wild to be like the 12 most powerful capitalists on the earth are going to communist China to beg for deals and try to get help from communist China, right? Dude, everyone's losing their shit over all these Republicans are getting just like so manipulated and glazed up that they don't understand what's happening. Several hundred Chinese youth and military band just gave President Trump a grand welcome as he arrives in Beijing. 47 is loving it. China's VP ambassador and foreign minister is there. Well, this is what Trump respects looks like. Trump respect looks like. Like, I'll give that a like, because I need more of this content on my timeline, of course. But all these people are so happy that China's glazing them. They're falling for it. They're falling for the glaze. And it's so funny. Living proof that communism works. Look at this guy. 1992, 2026. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that fucking wild? One dude, I beg to differ. But look at this. This is insane. That kind of growth in that amount of time is fucking crazy. I gotta watch this arrival video. I gotta watch the Trump China video. Our president, baby's pulling up. Oh my god, this is so exhilarating. This is so pro-China. Oh my god. Look at this. This is wow. Incredible. The thing is, the videos are cool. I'm sure it's AI as fuck. President Donald Trump. It's just so fucking funny to make this video. Like, what would Republicans do if Obama made a video like this? Shit.